Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Interlinked, the official Neo Tokyo podcast powered by Shrapnel.
Brace yourself for impact, crypto gamers, because I am reporting from the Shadow Zone. STX1 just wrapped up. It was an absolute banger. I know I was out there grinding for my Sigma, trying to get my missions complete. Only problem is, I suck. So I got most of my Sigma, full confession, off of dead bodies and extracted my ass out of there. But I'm going to get a second bite at the apple in STX2 dropping right around the corner. And it's going to include new map updates, suppressors, which I'm excited about because I want to live my inner James Bond fantasy. And I will be there grinding for some more Sigma. So if you haven't gotten a chance to get your extraction pack, now might be the time so you too can drop in. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Playa3ull Games. They are inspired by gamers and funded by their community. They have a epic game on the Epic Games Store, a third-person shooter called Nexus. Hop on in there and check that out. They're also currently selling nodes, so if you're interested, check that out at their website, playable.games. That is a 3 instead of a B on Playable. Now strap in for the rest of this episode of Interlinked.
Today, we have one of the legends of the crypto gaming space, the dreamer and the builder and the creator of Bloodloop. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hey guys, it's a pleasure to be here. It's nice to meet you all. I'm Pasquale. I'm CMO and co-founder at 72 Labs, which is the gaming studio and company behind Bloodloop as a product. And doing fine. Sore from the push-ups you pushed me into. But no, I'm excited to speak to the Neo Tokyo community and happy to be here.
Amazing. It just for context for the audience, we do have an official policy here on the pod where if there's any sort of delays or reschedules or anything, we do charge push-ups as the penalty there. So appreciate you being flexible and actually adhering by that. I could see you're a little extra swole, so it's good.
Not
it's
flexible
good.
anymore. Like definitely not dual mobility now, but.
Well, I love it. Really appreciate you joining the pod. Side by side with me, as always, my partners in crime, Mr. Nick Crypto Atheist. How are you, sir?
Dude, doing good. Living the dream. Stoked to be talking some Bloodloop. Excited to get into it.
100%. And of course, the main man, the legal mastermind, Mr. Jared. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Glad to be here. Pumped that the BTC drop has pumped everything else, and I think we're in a beautiful spot heading into May.
100%. Excited to dive into all that. So let's, without further ado, jump into the Bloodloop. Would love to hear the origin story. How to come about? How did we get here? Give us the juicy detail.
Yeah, so the Bloodloop came up as an idea back in 2021. I would say the first iteration, the first concept behind Bloodloop, which was completely different from the game that you see now, came up in March or May of 2021 between me and Luca. Luca is one of our co-founders. We're actually we have a pretty big roster of co-founders. We are 6. Something pretty unusual, particularly for crypto companies, where you will find 1 or 2 people co-founding startups. But we felt like we needed a lot of hands on deck, particularly to kickstart a gaming studio. And everyone in the team is actually coming from a pretty different background. Back in the days, there were no playable crypto games at all. What you will find on the market were games like Axie, Crypto Blades, the first iteration of Star Atlas, which was just raising funds. There were no actual gameplay. We saw the opportunity there. Why? Because we're crypto native, and we felt like the intersection between a market that is asking for the right ways to trade assets and something that gives you all the power that you want to trade those said assets was something that the market needed, but not in the way that other people were doing it already with GameFi, which right now is a completely standalone category, I would say, and now they find their product market fit for the user base that we have. But back in the days, it was basically a complete Ponzi, and we've seen where it went after the great bull run of 2021. Therefore, we were like, we can do this. We can build gameplay that is actually enjoyable, that can justify the presence of a real money value economy that can translate into users being able to do whatever they want with their assets that they're obtaining. But it's also sustainable in a way that we're not injecting liquidity in the system to make sure that it keeps on going, or creating liquidity out of thin air to get the people to play. Which ultimately is one of the biggest excuses right now in Web3. The game sucks, but I'm giving you money, so you should play it anyway. We felt like that wasn't the way this market should evolve over time. Therefore, we kickstarted our journey, and I would say we are in one of the we're one of the games in the big first cohort of games that started building back in the days. Shrapnel was just starting building their product. Ascenders as well. Sadly, they stopped their production, but it was an extremely great title. A lot of games started back then, and we have went through the cold of and the depth of the bear market, which for a gaming project was extremely colder than the bear market as a whole, because we have been in a situation where no one was raising funds, no one was looking to deploy funds into gaming. Um, we had funds luckily, and we kept on building. We kept our team as lean as possible, reducing our burn rate to bare minimum. We survived the bear, and we recently raised 4 million, which will keep us going for the next 3.5 years based on how aggressively we expand. Meaning that we now have a product that is in an open beta stage, and it's coming live to the market in June with our Play3ull campaigns, and then with an open beta in September. But we also have three plus more years of runway that we can use to keep on improving our product, test what sticks on the market, and make sure that we can obtain the user base that we need and acquire the player base that the game will ultimately need for the player liquidity to make sure that Blood Orb is a successful product over time.
GG on that. Like surviving the bear market, recognizing that there was a system that was introduced that initially got traction but proved to have flaws in it, despite doing a lot to bring crypto gaming into the mainstream zeitgeist or bring attention to it. Ultimately had some flaws in it, and then making it through that bear market post that era, and then raising and definitely have some notable backers. I know there's a lot of NT backing in there as well, so really excited about that. But yeah, maybe we could just linger on this idea of I want to call it like bribing players with tokens. Like game sucks, but there are tokens, therefore players come to play and extract value, and the game loops are typically not that fun. I think a lot of people are recognizing it, but I love that you just went directly at it, and it's like, we're going to change this and we're going to do something differently. Can you talk about how you thought from and started from first principles and thinking about the game loop and the token and how to really attract players, and like how are you thinking
Yep,
about all that?
sure thing. I want to start with a couple of premises. The first one is that um, it's not true that gamers don't want money or don't care about money. Ultimately, every single gamer is playing from their little bedroom, most likely in their parents' house if they're still on their younger side, on the younger age, or even in their own houses. But they're spending money on video games, and they're spending a lot of money on video games. And you would lie if you said that as a young gamer you never tried to make a buck of the games that you were playing. The first thing I did whenever I was playing games like MMORPGs, World of Warcraft, or whatever, everything else, was like Googling if I could make money off it, maybe selling the asset I was farming, or if there was any way for me to go online and even make 15 bucks to repay for my battle passes or my subscription or monthly fees, just to recoup the spend, because 15 bucks for 18 years old is a lot of money. Maybe they're still running on payroll from on paychecks from their parents, and they don't really have any source of income. So ultimately, every single gamer is a hustler. It's the way you sell them the fact that they can make money that really matters. They are hustlers, but at the same time, they don't want to waste their time playing something that doesn't spark their interest or makes kind of feel them in any way different from when they started to the end. Everyone is talking about making a fun game, but it's not about the game being fun. It's about the game being able to make you feel emotions while playing it, which might be rage, might be fun, might be interest, might be nostalgia, whatever you are playing and whatever emotion you're feeling, as long as a game can spark emotions in you, it means that the game is touching you in some way, which means that the game is doing what it's supposed to do, entertain you. Games are just forms of entertainment, but if you remove all the entertainment and you just leave the hustling side of things, it becomes a job. And gamers don't want that because they would find a job otherwise. Or maybe they do already have one and they don't want to work another one when they are supposed to just relax and sit back on their chair and have fun. What happens with tokens is that ultimately they are one of the biggest retention funnel that we have in the space. Token economies have, or generally speaking, real money economy behind games have a true. They work. They have. We've seen examples in Web2 as well. One of the biggest one, and actually one of the funniest one, is Magic the Gathering Online, which back in 2006, 2008, released their product online. It was a TGC for the Magic the Gathering, but it was online, and you could trade card on exchanges. And funnily enough, Mount Gox, which then turned to be the Bitcoin exchange, was the Magic the Gathering Online exchange for people to trade assets. That's why it's Mount Gox, because it's Magic the Gathering Online X for exchange. And then they started selling Bitcoins. But people before it turned into a Bitcoin exchange, people were trading cards there and they were making money, and the game allowed it, and everyone was having fun, and the game had millions of dollars of volume because people enjoyed that real money economy behind the product. It's the matter of how you sell it. If you back up a strong IP with that, people will keep on playing. But if you have no IP, people won't just keep on doing it. The way we see it in our product flow for Bloodloop in particular is we don't give out tokens for you to start playing. Like, we don't want to sell you the game just for the fact that if you download it and you play the first 15 minutes, you will have $10 in your wallet. We could do that, ultimately hurting the liquidity and hurting the holders and diluting what is the player base that has invested and most likely have invested looking to get exposure to the success of the product, or because they believe in the in-game token sinks that will make sure that the price appreciates over time. That will be an attack to them and an attack to the product. We believe that injecting liquidity is something we must and will do, but it's meant to be injected when the people are already converted into the game. You get into the product because you see it, you like it, you have fun. You play your first 10, 15, 20, 25 matches. You have spent your 5, 10 hours in the game. And then you realize that you suddenly realize that we have been airdropping you all the time with materials that are actually NFTs. You can craft those materials into skin. You put their skin on the marketplace. You sell it to someone else. And now you have money in your wallet and you realize that you're making money off the game, but we're not selling you the product for the tech. It should be the otherwise. You sell the product for the game, the tech comes behind it, the game runs on those rails, and the money component, the token side, even token airdrops or token rewards comes in as a way to keep you engaged with the product. We are in an attention economy, and that also works for games. There are hundreds of games coming to the market every single month, thousands every single year, and the gaming market has hit a plateau. For the past 5 to 10 years, the gaming market has been growing faster than the world economy has been doing, which means that right now there's not enough money to sustain the market. Web2 fundraising completely stopped. Web2 Web2 ways to make money for studios are going to zero, and there's not enough player liquidity for the games. And wait a second. I think 1 minute. Like someone is ringing the bell. What's it say?
All good. As you're diving into the IRL adventure that you're dealing with right there, I do think it's really interesting to note, and I'd love to get Nick and Jared, you guys' opinion on this. The idea of not diluting all the other investors that are putting capital into a game by paying people to come and play, but instead maybe having an economy built around a strong IP, and just kind of that concept and that idea. Love for you guys to maybe linger on that for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you don't have to directly financially bribe is going to, save you some runway as opposed to having to throw all that cash out in the beginning. You're accelerating this timer in between, taking at the cost of really like development dollars. So, I mean, if you can rally behind an IP is instead of having to pay, it certainly seems advantageous. But the big if is the IP. Do you have something that's going to grip these people's attention and drive them in through the door? So as long as you've got that, then yeah, I think that's a really good strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think,
sorry.
oh, no
Right,
problem, Pasquale. Glad to have you
right, right.
back. Um, you didn't miss anything. Anyway, my thought is it makes complete sense that you go into it saying this is going to be large. We're going to have tons of people come in, and we're going to have tons of people come in because of, who we are, what the game looks like, how much fun it's going to be. So adding that extra amount of money that we're, distributing just to log in, I think is a waste when the vision is much bigger and better than that. And, you're paying homage to the people who are the original investors and who had spent, before there was an actual product, before there was the gameplay and all the ideas, they came in and said, look, I support these people. I trust them and I'm going to give them my money, knowing that in the back end, they're not just going to give it away to everyone who comes in. And if it's a lot of people, that is a very large dilution. And I think that speaks to what the IP is and what the vision is for the product. And I think it's amazing.
Well, just to play devil's advocate for a second, actually, perhaps there could be at least some merit to the idea of, okay, we want to incentivize people to try the game. What's the best way to get people to try the game? I mean, you could bribe them, so it could give you more shots on goal. And then if you know that you have I come from a marketing background, so I think of it in terms of a funnel. So if your funnel is strong enough and you're able to then like move people from top of the funnel, which is getting them into like click, download, or play, and they enter and begin playing. And then through the mechanics of the game, you can funnel them into becoming really high value members of that project and customers. Then there could be some value in that. I think where the distinction is like what you use to bribe them with should be something that attracts the right type of person, right? Like if you're just like, okay, I'm giving you a free iPhone if you come and check out this game, you're going to get people that don't really care about the game, but they care about the iPhone. But if you're like, hey, I want to bribe you with something which you can then use in the game to further your experience and have more fun, then that could actually attract the right people. I think the like positioning the incentive properly could actually still give merit to that idea in some cases. So I just want to play devil's advocate here because I'm not sure it makes sense to like go totally like have the pendulum swing totally the other way because there could be something really powerful there.
I think on your take, it's important to take into account the metrics that comes from the marketing of Web2 games here. One way to promote games is, of course, paid advertisement, which comes in as performance marketing. So going through the standard funnels of Google Ads, YouTube Ads, or whatever advertisement that you can run right now on social media. And the biggest takeaway is that you can get a lot of people in the first part of the funnel. So you onboard them in the first part of the funnel with the token with the paid performance marketing, and you will get a lot of downloads. And the way they're doing it right now, the majority of the cases, you can look at advertisement for AFK Arena or Rise of the Kingdoms, which are like the biggest examples because they did a lot of advertisement, and I'm sure you got it on your TikTok feed or on your Instagram feed. What they do is they sell you the game and then they give you like those codes to get the big, extremely big head start into the game, so you don't feel like you're starting from zero, and you start playing, which might be the case with NFTs or tokens or even just in-game skins or whatever, not necessarily monetary value. But the stickiness and the retention of this type of advertisement is extremely low. The quality of the funnel, like the quality of the users you get in the funnel, is extremely low, because you ultimately get people that attention can be easily manipulated. So if I download a game from an advertisement, I'm most likely going to be downloading a game from the next advertisement, and then from the next advertisement, and then from the next, because I'm just like that. And it's not necessarily a problem. particularly for mobile games, maybe, but it's a problem for desktop games, for PC games, and ultimately you're spending a lot of money, but the return on ad spend will not be that great. When I see like every single dollar I spend as token incentive to get people into the game, I count it as a standard spend. So if we spend $100 in token or $100 in fiat, it's the same thing because even if it's not directly hurting our company's pocket, it's hurting our company's liquidity on the market, which is even worse because, again, as I was telling before, we are kind of attacking the people that are backing us up, investing and putting money into our product, which might not even have a full understanding of how this type of market works. So I think about it 10 times before I spend $1 in marketing from tokens, compared to the fact that I maybe think about it 5 when I want to spend $1 from the company's bankroll for advertisement. A better ad spend that we're studying on the token side is ambassadors and creators, giving them skin in the game with liquid tokens. They can do whatever they want with them. They can sell them or they can keep them. It's up to them. You spend way less in terms of onboarding because it's a one-time fee or monthly fee to 100 creators, which might turn out to be $25,000 or $50,000 a month in tokens, for example, compared to maybe $1 million rate job to 100,000 people, which is way less pro capita, but it's way more in the total scheme. And trust me, if you get $5, you will most likely dump those. That's what happens with their jobs anyways. But when you sell your product through a creator, the fact that that creator is already as a public that is um, trusting him because they follow him and they watch his streams and they keep on going with him whatever he does, will get you way more users because you are already one step down the funnel, which is the trust part. The creators has already built all the social proof and credibility that you need to sell the product because the audience already trusts him, and even if the product is not extremely top tier, they will still give it a try because it's coming from people they support or they idolize or they love. So you're already one step down the funnel. And then the best way to get from this point to the point where the user will keep on playing is giving the creators additional tokens or rewards or opportunities to organize community tournaments, to organize community activation, so that for every single creator that you onboard, you give him the opportunity to give back to the community. And Web3 really amplifies this concept with a lot of monetization routes and flows that we can leverage compared to the traditional Web2 routes. And what happens here is that one, the community appreciates the creator even more because he's giving back. The creator will appreciate you because you're offering him the opportunity to give back to his community. And three, the community will trust you more because now his creator, the creator is playing it, it's rewarding them. And there's this extremely good loop that ultimately still airdrops people, but it does it in a way that those people will most likely stay compared to the people that you onboard from point A, just with the promise of tokens. Like you get in the game, I'm bribing you, get playing. That doesn't really necessarily works, but if they're already 2 steps down the funnel and then you give them tokens, they most likely turn into the step 3, which is them buying assets or them reinvesting into the game or them playing the game for a longer time. One thing I always say though is that right now there is no clear example of anything you're talking about. I would argue there is no game that is currently in a stage where they can test these strategies or test these funnels or test these routes. And it's going to be extremely fun 6 to 12 months from now on, with games coming to market, with games being ready for people to play them. And of course, the fact that games has to overcome the cold start problem of getting the right user base into their product to make sure that it plays liquidity and US dollar liquidity to keep the economy and the game flowing. We are all building in an industry that is not necessarily meant to success. We know that what we're doing here is extremely experimental. We're throwing things at the wall and things there's also money at the wall until something sticks. And I think though that we are in an intersection that will be extremely fun to play into, particularly on a marketing perspective.
On the side of the, I'll call them creators, influencers, content, generators, people with a community, the relationship between you as the project and the creator, that's a partnership there. And there, in any good partnership, I believe, there's some sort of relatively mutual exchange of value. How do you think about what that exchange of value is for the creator to partner with you? And how do you, one, initiate the relationship with that creator? And then how do you maintain that over time? Because everybody wants, like, for example, everybody wants Alex or Elliot to like go shout them out in one of their YouTube videos. Everybody does, right? That's like, you know, people stay up at night and they make sacrificial altars, and that they pray for that to happen for them. But how do you actually go out and execute on something like that at scale over time?
So I think it comes from your credibility. If you as a brand keep on building your social proof, it's going to be extremely easier to approach creators and ask them to support you because they already see a strong brand that they can easily tap into. If they have to build your brand, so if there's no brand and they're the first one to talk about it or the ones that have to shape it, they won't take any kind of deal or any kind of relationship with your product because it's not worth for them. It's a lot of work, and at the same time, it's risky for them because they have a reputation that they have to back up. So the first step will be for brands to make sure that they actually are brands, and you're not trying to get the creators to do everything for you. Creators should just amplify your message. KOLs, whatever you want to call them, influencers, streamers, whatever, they're here to amplify a message that you're trying to get to a public. They're not here to create a message and get it to the public. If you look and you base your whole strategy on creators, then you won't get the user that you need, or at least your conversion rate will be extremely low. Because the creators will definitely bring you people, but then if you can't instrumentalize the people that they bring you, you won't find your conversion at all. The way we do it is we try to go as much as possible against the Web3 ways of marketing, which is we capture the complete mind space for a week and then we go silent. Like a lot of projects, what's happening right now with NFTs and projects and launches is this thread meta where everyone is writing threads about your launch, then everyone is posting video about your launch, and you go on the feed of everyone for 2 weeks up to a point where it's fucking annoying because I just see your project, and that's a big no for me, not a big sell. Like I'm going to mean this. I don't care about what you're doing because you are ruining my daily Twitter activities, and right now I can only see you on my feed, so you're annoying me. And then you go silent because after the mint, no one knows anything about you because you have paid your creators for one tweet or you gave them whitelist spots. They dumped on you because they don't believe in what you're doing. They got their one hit or whatever payment they managed to get from your campaign, and that's it. That's not the way marketing works in Web2. Why should it work in Web3? We are in an attention economy again, but we are also the one that are pushing this attention economy to become even a stronger attention economy and a shorter time span one. The more we foster this type of behaviors, the more it's going to be hard to capture the attention of the user base because they will just have this quick flashes of things coming by on their feed and disappearing, and then coming by and then disappearing. And creators, which are very low number right now in Web3 for Web3 gaming, compared to the traditional gaming world where you have millions of people making gaming content. They don't have enough bandwidth to cover every single game, and they don't have enough bandwidth to keep this going for a long time. What we do for Bloodloop is we build our credibility and we build true relationship with the creators. We don't ask for hard deliverables. We don't ask for things to be delivered over a certain amount of time or in certain days. we have some rules in place. We have some, of course, if we are posting something important, we ask for creators to help amplify. If there's an announcement, if there's a trailer, if there's a video coming out that we really want the public to see, we will be there asking our creators to help out. But apart from that, the standard deal that we offer our creators is you work with us. We are an ambassador. We give you skin in the game. You do whatever you want with that skin in the game, and you are not forced to post every single day, every single week. You have to post a certain amount of content over a month, over 3 months, 6 months. What we ask you is to keep us in your schedule. Keep us in your content schedule up to a point where you fire our brand in the brains of your followers, and every single time you post about us, they know about us because you talked about us here, then you did here, then you did here. And it's not a one-time thing to make sure the push goes viral, which is a fake virality because it lasts 30 seconds and then it ends in the oblivion. If you can build the brand up to a point where if I see Bloodloop stickers somewhere, I remember what Bloodloop is, what they're doing, and what's their latest activation, it means then you're doing it in the right way. If everything you do is forgettable or doesn't leave something to the users you're speaking to, you're just building for the hype, but hype doesn't help brands scale or convert over time. So that's generally what we do. But I also think that the market right now is extremely scarce in creators, and I really look forward more people embarking in this journey and more people supporting newcomers, more people converting from Web 2 to Web 3. We're doing it ourselves with a lot of creators. We are onboarding a lot of like ex-pro players, TSM players, Fnatic players, in the intersection of target audiences that we believe are strong for our product. So like ex-Fortnite streamer, ex-Overwatch streamer, ex-Valorant streamer with a public that could like the genre. And I really think also the creator space is set to grow in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, I absolutely love a lot of those points there. I think the audience just got like a good master class in how to interact with influencers, how to do your target marketing. I love how well thought through that is and differentiated from just the meta on the space. I'll tell you what, through the whole Portal campaign and this campaign and that campaign, I certainly trimmed down my followers quite a bit because I was like, I just can't see hashtag this coin one more fucking time. But I'd love to shift gears a little bit into Bloodloop itself, into the gameplay. What are going to be some of the big differentiating points that keep people playing, both from the Web3 and Web2 perspective, having them onboarded? What's really going to grip people with Bloodloop?
So what we're doing with Bloodloop is we're not trying to reinvent the wheel on how the hero shooter genre works. It's a genre extremely interesting on a user-based standpoint, and people really like it because it gives you a lot of variety. It gives you a gameplay that is not the standard. Get into a game, shoot, kill, exit the game. It makes it sure that you really have to think about both the shooting mechanics and the skills, and you have to learn both. But you don't have to be extremely good in one or the other. You have to be good in the synergy of both. So it keeps you more engaged compared to a standard shooter. With our gameplay, we're trying to forge something unique. What we're building as a product is something more arcadey from the get-go. So you don't feel like there's a big gap, a big barrier to get into the product. It's easy to get started, play your first match, and have fun playing. But it's hard to master the game, and it's hard to get that good that you can scale the leaderboards and get into the top rankings and beat the other pro players. That's what keeps people engaged over time. If it's easy to join, you remove a big wall in the acquisition funnel because people won't feel like they suck at the game. The first time I played Valorant, and I'm a strong FPS, TPS, hero shooter player, although I suck at shooting. I'm more of a MOBA guy in terms of skills, but I really love the FPS games. I started playing Valorant. The moment I started playing, I felt like I sucked at that game because I had no shooting skills. And I was getting headshot every single time my head was popping out a corner. And I was like, fuck it, I can't play this because I suck. I kept on playing because I had friends playing, but if I was a solo player, I would have quit it pretty easily and pretty like 3 to 4 games into it because the learning curve was fairly steep. My girlfriend started playing League of Legends last week, and she was like, "How do you play this game? It's extremely hard to understand the first 150 games in League of Legends. Then it gets better and better and better up to a point where you get toxic and you don't want to play it anymore. But up to that point, it's fun. But getting into the game is extremely hard. We want to remove that part because for smaller games, it's a pretty hard wall to get past to. Then we make sure that the difficulty increases over time. If you really want to get good, you have to understand every single team synergy. You have to understand how to communicate, how to learn. You have to learn the maps, learn the spots, learn how your abilities synergizes with the maps. Check out the moving components in every single map and check out how your abilities can alter those up. So with our game design and planning, and we're working with a lot of advisors also on the competitive side of things, we are really taking into account every single mechanics that can make the gameplay more dynamic for people that want to look for the things that make it dynamic. So it's not like we feed you with those up, but there are those things in the game that if you find them and if you understand how to leverage them, it makes the gameplay completely different for you. And people will realize that there are those things because now you're doing it, and then other people will learn it, and that's how you create metas. That's how you create um, things that everyone copies that are basically strategies for people to play the game out.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Introducing Honeyland, a fun mobile casual strategy game built on Solana and available in iOS and Android stores across the world. Honeyland has achieved next level convenience by facilitating the purchasing of their NFTs and HXD token within the app, and you can use Google and Apple Pay. They have a massive upcoming airdrop and some partners like MasterCard, NASA, and StepIn. So hop on over to honey.land to learn all about this and more. Introducing Creo Engine, a next-level Web3 gaming ecosystem that connects gamers and developers in a Web3 gaming hub. Hop on their Creo Play platform to check out current and upcoming titles like Evermore Nights, Slime Haven, Creonia Metaverse, and Arcade Fest. The team has earned the endorsement of the chairman of Indonesia's People Consultative Assembly and earned a 10 out of 10 from Hackin on their cross-chain bridge audit. Check all this out and more on creoengine.com. Introducing Gamety, the first gaming platform on Rune's protocol. They are changing the game in the Bitcoin ecosystem by ditching those Ponzi-like, hyperinflated play-to-earn models that we all know and hate. And they are introducing a unique framework for sustainable game economics. This framework already has 30 plus casual games under development and boasts a unique rewarding system and time-based call to action ad system. Check out their website, gamety.io, to learn more. Introducing Ridotto, gambling infrastructure that offers seamless on-chain experiences. Ridotto is built on 3 pillars: play, build, and bankroll. Play your favorite casino games with confidence, knowing that every outcome is fair and transparent. Build on their infrastructure to create your own gaming projects and be the house and earn through bankrolling. Learn all about this and their big upcoming betting on chain launch at ridotto.io.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Additionally, we will be doubling down quite a lot on our unique game modes. So we are offering users traditional experiences like Team Deathmatch and Plant the Bomb, which are the 2 most played game modes in hero shooter genres. Plant the Bomb in particular is like the most played game mode in games like Valorant and so on. But we are also offering them our unique custom game mode, which is the Energy Wars. Energy Wars are interlinked completely with the story of the game and the lore of the product. And it's extremely important for us to tell them the story of what they're playing storyline and the lore of a game is one of the biggest thing that keeps people engaged as well. Ultimately, the gameplay components and the gameplay itself is getting a bit stagnant because everyone has already tried everything, or at least it looks like it. Every single game already tested every single game mode. Therefore, the lore that you tell the people through the game modes that they're playing is as important, if not more important than the gameplay. So we're also pushing a lot on that side of things. And Energy War is a mixture between a capture the flag and plant the bomb, with some hints of a domination style game. But the capture the flag part of things and turns into an escort the payload. So basically, the way it works, it's easier if I explain you the gameplay loop is you are playing as either team A or team B. If you're team B, you're defending. If you're team A, you are attacking. What you have to do is capture the enemy SCM capsule. SCM capsule are stable exotic matter capsules. It's the one. It's the ring of the Lord of the Rings of our universe. Is the thing that everyone is looking for. Is the most important element of the narration, and it's the only source of energy that is left in the universe that can open up rifts. Which are portals to other dimension that can summon archaic creatures that can help in the war that's ongoing between the factions. So everyone is looking for them because everyone that controls enough of them can win the faction war with the help of the of those big other dimensional monstrous creatures, heroes, and so on. And the more basically the way it works is as a team you go and capture that SCM capsule. If you get it, you become the payload. People have to escort you because you're slowed down extremely, and team play and communication is the key there. If you don't communicate, you'll die, you'll lose, and the enemy team will win. Because you have no defense, no one flanking, no one tanking, and if you don't coordinate, you will die. You will die in this game mode, and you have to escort it back to your base, extract the energy from it, and if you extract it completely, the gameplay ends. Over time, I will be integrating more game modes that follows up on the story, particularly on the Rift side of things, and on the multi-dimensional opportunities. We are building a lot also in the PvPvE game modes, so player versus environment, with PvP game modes, but leveraging the environmental interventions that are from these archaic creatures that they are summoning through the rifts. So you will see teams capturing enough energy to open up rifts to bring in those big maps. So we're thinking about 50 versus 50 versus 50 versus 50 maps. So like basically full up faction wars where you're summoning archaic creatures. Those creatures are fighting with your faction, and they're basically this environmental boss that other team have to take down because they're dealing damages or are boosting your faction or giving you additional artifacts that can give you more perks during the battle. And those battles will basically be tournament based for your faction to scale up into leaderboards. The best faction gets more points, more rewards, and ultimately even monetary value and NFTs out of those battles. So we are testing both worlds. We're testing the MMO side of things, which is interesting, and it's something that innovates on a gameplay standpoint because no one has ever done this type of game modes, or at least they are super niche game modes that no one has really explored as a main gameplay loop. But at the same time, we're offering user familiar experiences that they can just have fun playing without having to jump too much into things that are different. Um, Ultimately, if you can stimulate the attention of both words, you will find a good intersection target that like them both. And there you have your player liquidity, and there where you can there's where we want to build into to keep the people engaged with our game and get them to play over time and more and more.
Dude, we can only be so bullish on one project. I mean, this is ridiculously cool. So I love the fact that you guys are integrating multiple different types. I mean, I'm picturing like the teamwork required in League mixed with a lot of the cool mechanics of a shooter mixed with a little bit of like raiding and, bosses and dungeon stuff of like World of Warcraft all into one with, a rough approximation of, like all coming together. I mean, how cool, how fun. I'm so excited for it. So I appreciate you diving into that game loop. Um, how did Where'd that concept come from? Like, how would you guys have that idea?
Um, so building a game is like writing music in a way. You take a lot of influence, but you don't really know where it comes from as you're just listening to music every single day. When you're a video gamer and when you're also working in the video game world, there's a lot of influences that comes from a lot of games that you've played. A lot of the game modes and the ideas came from the core team, and were relayed onto our game design team, which has industry experts coming from companies like Ubisoft, Gameloft, CI Games, Crytek, Activision, Rockstar Games. Um, and the more we feed them with ideas, the more they shoot back at us with even better ideas. And all of them are video gamers. All of them have background in also AA and AAA productions, and we try to push innovation as much as possible. The way we do it internally is that we don't really limit imagination. We have a we work with Discord, which is rather strange. Everyone is using Slack nowadays. We use Discord, anyways. We have a channel in our Discord which is ideas. If you wake up and you have an idea, you just write it raw in the channel. You don't have to polish it out. You don't have to come up with a proposal. You don't have to come up with a document or whatever for us to review it. You just raw dog it in the channel, and we iterate on your idea, and we keep on writing stuff, and people from every single department will come in and tell what's doable and what's not doable without any type of formal bullshit. um, and if that's something we can implement or make sense, then we take it up into our pipeline and we conceptualize it, and then we turn it into a game design document. We add it to our game design document, and then we put it in the pipeline. In this way, every single one feels, even if you're in the marketing team, so you have no right in to say in the development of the game, because you have no direct contact with the development. You're just posting or working on what they offer you as ready concept. If you have an idea, you come up and you say that. Everyone has their own, has the right and the duty to say whatever they want about the product we're building. And so we can iterate a lot on the ideas that comes up. One thing is if you have 5 game designers working on the game and coming up with their concept, and the other is if you have a full 35 people team that every single night and every single day comes up with new bullshit, and out of 100 ideas, maybe 2 can be built out and they look cool, and that's how you get more concept built in. We take a lot of pride in the fact that we are so agile and that we don't get scared of kind of diversifying our targets, our goals, or moving fast in space, coming from point A to point B, but not directly, but maybe passing first through C to see if that works, and then getting back to B. Uh, I think crypto moves fast. Web3 gaming moves even faster. Gaming is extremely fast with indie companies coming up to the rise. And if you want to make it in in the video game industry right now, you have to be as fast as every other indie game studio that need to make sure that they find their product market fit, because their success and their survival depends on the fact that they have to get to certain amount of people to play and pay their game.
Yeah, I love the idea of just trying to have everybody bubble up ideas as they have them. I mean, like having a good idea just because it's locked in the accounting department or the marketing department, it's out a different portion of it. I think super, super important to have, a meritocracy and just a really open place where people can feel free to send those ideas out so that they can be iterated and add to the game if they're right. I mean, as you said, most ideas end up being, not worth the paper they're written on, even if that paper is digital, but every 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 can make an absolute game changer. Ben, really appreciate you co-hosting with us today. Know you got to drop. We'll keep on a couple questions rolling, and then obviously want to be respectful of your time, Pasquale. Jared, haven't gotten a chance to hear from you yet. Anything on the top of your mind you want to dive into?
Yeah, Pasquale, I wanted to go through. I know you have 6 founders, which I think is fascinating, and I wanted you to sort of tell that story of how you got together, but also sort of frame it in how the company structure evolved with 6 chiefs and how you maintain that sort of balance in the corporate structure with that many people with ideas.
We yell at each other a lot. That's the first important thing I want to cover. No, we have a strict policy, which is we are as democratic as we can. Everything gets through voting, and four if anything passes 4 out of 6. So if we pass the majority, it's 3+1. Even if the other two people are extremely vocal about the thing that should not be done, apart from extreme cases, of course, like things that we know that cannot be iterated or reasonably are hard might hurt the company. We just run through it, but at the same time we respect each other, and each other kind of backgrounds, up to a point where I'm leading marketing, and I'm doing so because I have almost 9 year in experience in marketing, and I've started from a copywriter. So I started from the bare ground and built my career up. So whenever I come up with something, and I've already studied all the campaign and with the team that I have under, and I go to the core team to get it approved and to get things running, they trust me and they respect me because they know my background and they are aware of what we can do with that. So they have no objections in what we're doing, uh, because they can trust what I'm doing. They know they can trust me. Same thing applies for everything else we do, for every other department, that is legal, that is finance, that is management, that is operation. We trust each other to make sure that we can stay slim and we can keep the operation as fast as possible. It's not easy. There are things that, of course, we don't have the same opinions about. And given we are six, there's always the fact that we can be 3-3. And if that happens on a voting, we have to sort this out and we have to discuss it furthermore. But it's also good because no one can be the balancing vote. Like no one can be the one that actually decides where things are going. It's balanced enough to keep things into discussion whenever we feel like there's a need to. How we met is a fun story. We all come from different backgrounds, but at the same time, we're all in crypto from 2017. Personally, I've came in the space in 2016, because I was a big decentralization maxi. I'm still a big decentralization maxi at the time. And what happened there is in 2017 there was the ICO bull run, and some of us found ourselves in Telegram group chats with each other. We started talking, we started chatting, and we kind of became online friends over investment that we were doing and over things that we were putting our hard-earned money into. And we bonded through the drugs that we went through and all the money that we lost. And in 2019, I started working full time in Web3, and I met a couple of the other co-founders that then later joined the team in some of the project I was working as a marketer or as an advisor for communication and PR. And I would say it started as an online friendship. We're all in Italy. We're all scattered around different parts of Italy. Me and Luca, the CEO, we're living nearby. We actually went to the same university. We met there. And the first game design that went for Bloodloop was written in our common rooms in our university, and we were like working on our tokenomics there and doing it between exams and exams because we felt like it was what we had to do. The others are scattered around the north of Italy. But when we started the project, right now, I talk more with them than with my family, and it's way more than just an online friendship at this point. But yeah, it started as a degen thing. It started as with us degening into other things, with us wasting our money into Web3 and realizing we could do things better than the others. We're realizing we could possibly change the way the market was because we saw the things that didn't work. And we knew that not bragging about it, not being extremely like saying that we definitely can, but we knew our expertise and we knew that we could do a lot of things differently, and we wanted to try and test. And the try and test became something big and then bigger and then bigger. up to a point where now we are working with over 35 people full time, plus a lot of advisors, a lot of part time people working with us on and off. And right now, it's something that has completely changed our lives. It's our first startup. It's our first iteration of a company. But I will redo everything 10 times with the same people because we're definitely we're definitely the perfect assembly of people that you would need for this type of journey.
Man, that's fantastic and fascinating. I just had one more question about the tokenomics of the BLS token. I was wondering if you could go into a little bit of that. I listened to one of your spaces the other day that talked about tokenomics sort of at a Web3 in general and how a lot of them are, essentially going to go into oblivion, and how is the BLS token different, and what sort of ideas and new concepts have you brought into that to sort of elongate and keep that in the open and working properly as an ecosystem?
So the main part, I don't necessarily think it's about the tokenomics, but it's about the in-game sinks that you're building for your token. Tokenomics, in terms of token distribution models, are a delicate science, I like to call it. But right now, there is no perfect way to build a tokenomics out. I think the most important thing is to make sure that you remember who your community is and who your VCs are. Community comes first, VCs come second, in a way that your community is the one that will support you over time, and it's also the one with with the least knowledge about the market compared to VCs that accept risk as part of their day-to-day jobs. So it's important to structure distribution model and tokenomics in a way that your community and your early backers that are part of your journey but are not necessarily institutional VCs have that edge over everyone else, so that they feel like they have an advantage, and they should have that advantage, because you should not punish your community or extract liquidity directly from them. At the same time, making your token relevant in your economy is built on how you build your in-game sinks and how strong your game keeps people entertained. As your game is entertaining, people will want to buy more into your economy, and at the same time, building an economy that leverages both speculation and in-game usage is extremely important. I'm seeing a lot of products kind of split up their economies into utility token, so in-game token and IP tokens to kind of separate their brands and their studio and give the tokens to both. I don't think that works. You should not differentiate the speculation from the in-game usage. You should give in-game tokens a speculative side, but you should lock the in-game prices to be set at a certain dollar value amount. That's what you're going to do. If your user base is buying into your tokens, and they get your tokens to do something in your game, let's say I buy $20 worth of BLS, and with those $20 I get 100 tokens, and I spend 20 on a skin. I'm left with 80 tokens, but at the same time, that token is used for speculative value, which means that people are buying into that to get exposure to the success of my game, but not necessarily using it because they want to use it in game. But as a player, I found out that now my $20 is worth $40 or $100, and I also spent more in game. I will be more keen to keep on spending because my dollar value balance is increasing, but I'm not spending more. So I feel like it's free to buy more things, when in reality, you're just spending an investment that you didn't realize. So it's easier to keep people putting back more and more value into your ecosystem, which means it means that ultimately who's speculating on the price action for an exposure side of things will get even more benefits, because the ecosystem is active, is spending tokens, and it's not getting those tokens dumped on the market from people selling those out, but from gamers selling in game. And at the same time, you're kind of giving back value to your in-game users, because they're seeing their portfolio balance go up whilst the prices in game are stable, which makes them feel like they have more spending power, when in reality the token spending power is the same. It's the real value. It's the dollar value that changed. So it's an interesting intersection there, and we are looking to explore this as much as possible. And I really think that's going to be interesting to see how it evolves. But we're building a lot in that side of things. Additionally, if you have seen our distribution model, which is public on Twitter, we have published an article. You can find it under tokenomics. It's in our Twitter profile highlights. We have over 35% of the supply allocated for in-game rewards that we will be distributing over time over the course of 5 years. Those in-game rewards are not direct cash prize that we're giving away for people to play, but we're going to distribute them through different routes. One of them is rankings and leaderboards. The more you play, the more you get better at the game. The stronger you get, the more we will reward you. So you are rewarded for playing ranked games, which means playing countless hours and ranking up and giving the game player liquidity, which is an important component of a game being successful, plus tournaments, plus community activations, and in real life tournament bounties and prizes. The majority of that tokenomic allocation will go towards ERL activation, competitive activations, and ultimately esports as we grow as a product.
Yeah, I love how well thought out that is. Think it's just a fascinating time to be in our space from a tokenomic standpoint, just because I don't think there's a time in history where there's been so many quick iterations in economics. Because if you think about 100 years ago, really the only time you're making an economy from scratch is when a new country is being made. And even then you're inheriting all the baggage from the previous country that was there before, even if that was a few different countries. So there's really very few opportunities to just build an economy from scratch outside of what were just virtual economies in video games. So I actually think we're going through this renaissance, and it's going to just be really cool to see what economics end up like working, what ends up being sustainable, and how all these different approaches yield. But again, I want to be very respectful of your time. Obviously a busy time in crypto gaming. So want to turn the questions around to see, is there anything that you were hoping we were going to ask, we didn't get a chance to, any topics that we left on the table you were hoping to dive into? Now take the opportunity to kind of dive into anything you like.
Yeah, apart from my allergies killing me, yeah, no, I really wanted to cover really quick what's going to happen next for the game. Yeah, I'm dying. Let's go. Just to make sure that people are aware of the next activation and steps. So May 26th, we are going live with our one-day playtest, which in reality will be a big stress test for our ecosystem, for us to check on how well our new networking updates, matchmaking, and everything else works. Why? Because the Play Airdrop is coming up really quick after that event, and we need to make sure that everything works on an infrastructure standpoint. Therefore, the best way to test is to get in people from every single part of the world and get them playing. I'm not sure on the amount of people we will manage to fit in this test. We're looking anywhere from 2,000 all the way to 10. We have a lot of requests. We're going to see how that turns out, but that's going to be our first, in a while, opportunity to play the game. From the build, I've completely changed from both the February playtest, like February compared to the current build, was like a tenth of the game that you have now, and also from GDC. GDC was an important event for us, was an important twist, because we saw there was actually interest from Web2 gamers, with people stopping by at the Avalanche stand, playing the game, and coming back to play even more every single time they passed by. And the people there were gaming industry leaders, the Web2 gaming industry leaders, and they had fun playing. That was our big green light for us, like passing the head turn test. Like, I'm passing by, I hear shooting, I look at the screen, I look at the game, I like it, I stop and I play. If you pass this test, it means that people are interested, and it was a big important moment for us. The main feedback that we got there was mobility. We had a lot of mobility issues. There was the game was lacking mobility features that could make it even more dynamic. We wanted that feedback before we implemented those up, but we did. From GDC until now, we managed to change completely the mobility features and set of our game and our characters. And it's going to be an important update because it completely changes the gameplay and the dynamicity and the arcadey feel that the game gives you. So it's very important. Apart from this, TG is another thing that I get asked quite a lot, and I'm sure the Neo Tokyo community, given you guys are heavily invested into Bloodloop, would like to know. We were set to launch in the last week of April. The market turned down, extremely down. We announced it in our Discord that we are waiting for the right market situation to launch a token, which doesn't necessarily imply that we're waiting for Bitcoin to be at $73,000. We're waiting for the market to take a direction, which can be down or can be up, but the market has to take a direction. Right now, it's just chop, and you don't want to launch in the chop because the liquidity is not there. People are scared to put money into the market because they are not aware of where it's going. As soon as we feel like the market is a direction, we will be launching. Everything is ready on our side. Exchanges are lined up. The token procedures to launch, everything is lined up. We have audited all of our smart contracts through Paladin SEC, which is one of the most important auditing firms on the market. So we everything is ready on our side. We're just waiting for the right moment to launch because it's in our both and it's in ours and yours best interest as investors and community members to make sure that we launch in a market situation where it's just not us exchanges ourselves liquidity, but it's the market interested in a new launch, and there's enough liquidity on the market for that. Hopefully it will be soon. We didn't necessarily announce a date. Internally, we were discussing, of course, the first 2 weeks of May. Ultimately, it might be end of May, mid of May. We will see. But as soon as we can, we will be going live on the market with the token as well. And anyways, apart from that, in June, we will have our Play-to-Airdrop campaign, which is our biggest activation in terms of playability. The game will be available for 2 weeks every single month, for 3 months all the way into August, with 4 days a week of playability that goes live for 16 hours a day, which means every single time zone will get the chance to play the game, enjoy it, and collect points. Every single user will be rewarded for showing up, and then you will be able to claim and complete quests and tasks to get even more pointer multipliers that will increase your Bloodloop rewards, your BLS rewards. We are allocating millions of BLS rewards for this. Ultimately, translating this into dollar value, we're looking at a prize pool between $1 million and $2 million in rewards to players. We have over 800,000 people signed up right now. We did not expect this many people to show up. Our expectation were like 50,000. And even if we managed to convert like 5-6% of the people that registered, we will be the Web3 shooter game with the highest amount of people playing until now, which is an incredible feat. It will be nice to see how this plays out as well. I think this covers the most important step all the way into August. September will be big as well. We will be at Tokyo Game Show. We are launching our open beta there. We're organizing an incredible stand, we're going to have an incredible presence at the event, but more on that to come with some previews, and you'll see also the videos from there. I would say that sums up pretty much what I really wanted to cover to make sure that you guys are up to date with what's going on in the Bloodloop ecosystem. If you are not, make sure to join our Discord and to follow. Of course, I think you already every one of you already does, but make sure to follow us on Twitter as well. All the official communication comes from Twitter first, and then goes to Discord. And we manage as core team. We're always in the chats. We take pride in the fact that we chat actively with our community. We are there to answer any question that you have. We're there to address any topics that you want. Moderators are useful, and of course they're always there, but it's better if you chat directly with us. And we try to spend as much time as possible in our communities to stay in the loop and foster a genuine connection with the people that are supporting us in the space.
Yeah, I love it. So much to be excited about throughout the summer and into the fall. There's so many things coming up. The Twitter is definitely going to be below in the description. So for any of the audience who doesn't happen to be following, if you just crawled out from under a rock, go hop down there, hit Bloodloop's Twitter. Really, really appreciate you taking the time. And educating the audience on all that Bloodloop's doing in the ecosystem, with the gameplay, with the marketing. I think we got into a ton of stuff. Obviously, just fired up to have you guys as part of the community. Obviously, between the Rays and all of the ways that Neo Tokyo and Bloodloop are entwined, it's been a super fun journey, and just excited to get my hands on Bloodloop finally in play. So, Jared, really appreciate you joining us today as well. Always a pleasure to be co-hosting with you. Big shout out to Ben, who had to drop a little bit early today. But this has been another episode of Neo Tokyo Interlinked, and we will be back next week with a fresh episode talking to another game. So we'll see y'all then.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Pasquale. It's a pleasure.
No problem, guys. It was a pleasure.